Hey guys, this is Leck from CGN, and this is an introduction to the ranged skills in the Secret World. So if I bring up the ability window, all of the skills are divided between melee, ranged, and magic, and the ranged skills are divided up between assault rifle, pistols, and shotguns. The assault rifle skills are DPS and Healy, the pistol skills are supporty a bit, and the shotguns are tanky. But as I've said before, those definitions are very broad. You can do whatever you want with each weapon. Assault rifle has a heal in it, but you don't have to take the heal, you can ignore it. Anyway, I'm going to start with pistols because I've got some of the pistol skills on this character, not all of them, but I'll be able to give you a demonstration of pistol skills later. First I'm going to go through them, starting with armed. The business is your spammy resource builder. You can use this when your other skills are recharging, so you're not just standing there doing nothing. And it's a single target attack. Magnum is a passive ability that works on the business specifically, causing the target to also become weakened, and that reduces the effectiveness of heal, barrier, and leech effects. Wanted is a active ability. It's a chain ability. I love chain attacks, they're my favourite. Chain attacks will jump from person to person. This one goes 3 meters 4 times, hitting up to 5 enemies, and it does 110 physical damage each. All these numbers are relative to the weapon that I'm using, which is the absolute newbie weapon, the first one you get. So it might be different depending on what weapon you've got. Coup de grace. Again, I'm probably pronouncing that right. I'm bad at pronouncing words. Coup de grace is a passive ability, and it means whenever an enemy dies with your pistol resources remaining, up to 3 friends in a 5 meter radius around that enemy are healed for 22. Now, I should explain how the resource points work with ranged abilities. That's probably better if I give you an example. There's a zombie. Currently I have no resource points at all. I have to build them up from 0. But if I get a bit closer, because the pistol range is 10 meters. Now, see the icon right next to that enemy's head? I've got 4, now I've got 5, and I just killed her. 2, 3. The resource points build up on the enemy, not on the player. And personally, that's something it took me a little while to get used to. This is a drone, I'll explain that in a minute. But the resource points is something that took me a while to get used to. But there are skills like this that says, if an enemy dies and he still has resource points on him, then the people around that enemy will get a heal. The good guys. Drone kit, that was the drone you just saw. A drone is a little hovering bot that floats around you. And this one, every 2 seconds will fire at the closest enemy and does a little damage, but every little bit helps. Straight Shooter is a passive ability that increases damage dealt by all pistol abilities by 10%. Dirty Tricks is your elite active ability. It's a ground targeted AoE. Now, ground targeted AoE means like that. You can put it wherever you want. For example. Whoop, wrong button. So Dirty Tricks does 105 physical damage and will also hinder all the targets, and they'll be unable to move for 4 seconds. Hindered means they can still attack, but they can't move. Basically they're rooted to the ground. Whereas impaired means they can't attack at all. Hothead is a passive ability. That means whenever you apply hindered, as we just saw, you can apply it with Dirty Tricks. Whenever you hinder a target, you will gain the minor critical chance effect, which increases your critical chance by 10% for 8 seconds. Above the Law is a persistent ground targeted AoE. Persistent means it will last for a certain length of time, like 15 seconds. And it does, well, at the moment my one does 32 physical damage or 44 if the targets are hindered. So hinder people first, then use above the law and you'll get extra damage. Vigilante is a passive ability that works specifically on above the law and will increase the duration for by 5 seconds. Deadly Aim is a buff that gives all members of your team extra critical chance. Calling the Shots is a passive ability that reduces the recharge time of Deadly Aim by 30 seconds. Otherwise, it recharges 60 seconds. Shootout is my favourite pistol ability. It's a channeled ability, and it does damage every 0.5 seconds for 2.5 seconds. Channeled ability means you need to let it run for the full 2.5 seconds to get all the damage out of it. If you interrupt it with another ability, you won't get the full amount of damage that you could. Then you've got Rapid Getaway, which is an elite ability, and whenever you activate any pistol resource consumer, you gain a beneficial effect that increases your movement speed by 15% for 5 seconds. Which I don't have because I don't have enough AP, but I really want that. That's my next on my list to get. Okay, so next I will put that away, give you an example of a assault rifle. That's a big one. And I'll go through the assault rifle skills, starting with Engage. Safety Off is your spammy resource builder. And as a burst attack means they hit multiple times in one attack, and this one will hit 3 times, dealing 30 physical damage. So altogether, that would do 90 damage as it is now with this newbie weapon. Extra Bullet is a passive ability that works specifically for Safety Off, and it means they'll deal an additional hit. So I will hit 4 times then if I had this ability equipped. Fire at Will is a targeted AoE, so it'll affect whoever you have targeted in a 5-meter area around that target, and it'll do damage to up to 5 enemies. An additional hit is performed for each assault rifle resource consumed. So if you shoot once and have 1 resource on that enemy and then use it, you'll only do 1 hit. If you wait and build up 5 resource points, then use it, you'll do more damage because you'll do more hits. Setup is a passive ability that means every time you apply Hindered, your next attack cannot be evaded. Then you've got Trigger Happy, which is an active ability. It's a resource builder. It's a single target attack that does damage to your target, but if the target is hindered, then the target will also become afflicted with a damage over time effect. Eagle Eye is a passive ability that means you will do increased damage to all your assault rifle abilities by 10%. Slow the Advance is your elite active ability. It's a ground targeted AoE that affects 5 enemies in a 5-meter radius around the targeted point, and you will do damage, and the targets will also become hindered and their movement speed reduced for 30% for 8 seconds. Support. Military Code is a passive ability, and it means every time an enemy dies with unspent assault rifle resource points on them, then you will get a beneficial effect that causes your next rifle resource builder to build an additional point on the next target. Anima Shot is your heal ability. It does a small amount of damage to your target, to your offensive target, and will also heal your defensive target. It's important to note you can have an offensive and a defensive target at the same time, so this will attack and heal at the same time. Anima Boost is a passive ability that will work specifically on Anima Shot and will increase the damage dealt, the leech ability, and the heal of Anima Shot by 7.5%. Lock and Load is an active ability. It's a resource builder, and it reduces the time of all assault rifle resource consumers currently charging by 4 seconds. So basically this skill doesn't do any damage, but you will instantly build 3 points, and all of your recharging skills will reduce. Okay, Extra Clip is a passive ability that works specifically for lock and load, and it will build an additional 2 points. So if you had Extra Clip and lock and load, then you can build 5 points straight away, instantly, which is really helpful in a fight. Because remember, with ranged skills, you still have to build your points from 0, so this will mean you can come in fighting right from the start. Fire in the Hole is an active ability, which will consume all your rifle resource points, and it sticks a spiked grenade to the target, which detonates 2 seconds later, dealing 170 damage. Then you've got Experience, which is an elite passive ability, increases the effectiveness of all leech effects by 25%. Oops. And then you've got shotguns, so I will put a shotgun on so you can see an example of one. There we go. That's a pretty standard, simple shotgun. And I will start with Enforce. Oh, it's important to note with shotgun abilities, I've got 1 point, so I'm going to buy this first one. I'll put it on the start. Now I can use this whenever I want, even if I don't have a target right in front of me. And that's because most of the shotgun skills don't need a target. They work on a cone in front of you, which is an important thing to remember. Some people get confused about the fact that with shotguns you don't need a target, but actually you can use it to great effect because your position in the fight matters more. If you line up, say, here, I would get all of them in my cone. But if I'm standing in the wrong position, I might only get this one and not these other zombies. But I'm not going to fight them because I've only got 1 shotgun skill on me. So Pump Action is your Spare Me resource builder. Affects 5 enemies in a 60-degree, 7-meter cone in front of you. And does damage. Builds 1 resource points for each weapon equipped. Sword Off affects Pump Action, and it means the enemies you attack with Pump Action will also be weakened, reducing all damage dealt by them. Out for a Kill is an active ability. It consumes all shotgun resources, and it's a single target attack that does quite a bit of damage. Dead on Target is a passive ability that means all shotgun abilities will do increased damage. It means all shotgun abilities will deal increased damage by 10%. Then Buckshot is an active ability. It's a single target attack that does 162 physical damage, or 228 physical damage if you have 5 shotgun resources on the target. Which is pretty good. 228, considering the weapon I've got is the starter weapon, that's a lot of damage. But that's only if you build up 5 points first, before you use it. Rapid Reload is a passive ability that reduces the activation time of Buckshot by 1 second. Because as you'll see, it takes 1.5 seconds before you will do the damage. But if you include Rapid Reload, it will only take 0.5 seconds. Kneecapper is an elite active ability. Affects 5 enemies in a 60-degree 7-meter cone in front of you. Does 104 physical damage, and also will hinder the targets and reduces their movement speed by 70%, which is a lot. Then you've got Control. Hit and Run. Whenever an enemy dies with your shotgun resources remaining, an explosion occurs around that enemy, dealing 96 physical damage up to 5 enemies in a 3-meter radius. So they will do a little AoE if you build up points and don't use those points. Powder Burn is an active ability. It builds resource points, and it's a single target strike attack that does extra damage if the target is hindered. Gunsmoke is a passive ability. That means whenever you apply Weaken to the target, they will take an extra 13 damage. 13 at the moment, but as I said, that'll scale with your weapon. Breaching Shot is a buff, and when you use it, all team members gain a beneficial effect that increases your penetration chance by 40% for 8 seconds. Breach Party, sorry. Breach Party is a passive ability that reduces the recharge time of Breaching Shot by 30 seconds. Otherwise, it's 90 seconds, which is a lot. Both Barrels is an active ability that attacks 5 enemies in a 60-degree 7-meter cone in front of you, and it consumes all resource points you have on that enemy, and it's a cone attack that deals 110 physical damage in a cone in front of you. Authority is an elite passive ability, and it means all your team-wide effects are 15% more effective. That includes things like Breaching Shot, that gives all team members a beneficial effect. It'll give me 15% more effective. So that's all of the range skills. Keep watching CGN. We will have more videos coming up, and I hope you enjoy the game. See you later. All of the skills are blur. Fire at Will is a targeted AoE. That's not a ground targeted one. That means it will target whoever you have targeted. I just said target too much.